Secretary Brother Armin Luistro, Secretary Tatli Quanon, Secretary Joel Villanueva, Secretary Sunny Colombo, of course Dr. Ramon Bacani, former secretaries, officials and staff of the Department of Education, officials and staff of SEAMEO INNOTECH, fellow workers in government, honored guests, good afternoon. More than at any other time in history, today technology is truly challenging the status quo. It bridges distance, fills gaps in language and culture, and is quickly becoming a vehicle for direct action. Here in the Philippines, both the public and the private sectors are increasingly taking advantage of all the technology offers towards mutual benefit. For example, I recently recorded a video message for an organization called Peace Tech. This organization seeks to build peace and to promote education and understanding through technology. For this particular event, Peace Tech will bring together 6,000 Filipino Muslim and Christian youth from places like Benigno City and Metro Manila through video conferencing, creating a space for dialogue where previously there may have been none. The space for dialogue that technology creates becomes all the more important when it comes to our agenda of open governance. The internet and social media have allowed virtually instantaneous interaction to take place between the government and the people, especially now that many of our offices are putting their online presence to good use. And in recent days, we have seen just how effective this can be towards concrete results. Quick action and hundreds of lives saved in a recent calamity. We in Southeast Asia perhaps have a greater awareness of the increasing dangers brought about by climate change and by negligence in sustainable development of the environment. I have always said that a single casualty is one too many, that our goal is for no lives to be lost. And while we have no control over the number of typhoons that visit our country each year, we can minimize the damage they cause by putting in place the appropriate mechanisms and processes. The United Nations Office for Disaster Reduction itself cited the efforts of government in the recent typhoon, stating that our improved weather forecasting and flood warning systems help to save lives. And while we have much left to do, I believe this shows that we have already learned from past experiences, again, allowing us to save countless lives. And the engagement of government and the Filipino people through technology has played an important part in this. Our Weather Bureau, which is called PAGASA, now truly provides that which its name stands for, which is PAGASA in English is hope. Where there used to be guesswork, now there is increased accuracy. Scientists in PAGASA were able to predict the path and strength of Typhoon Pablo as early as 3 days before the typhoon struck. And of course, this is on top of the warnings that they have released prior to it even entering our area of responsibility, releasing the appropriate bulletins. Our official Gazette, through its online presence, worked with media outlets, private citizens, and other agencies of government to disseminate information on Typhoon Pablo. On the social media platform of Twitter, government used unified hashtags, and I'm sure Brother Armin is very familiar with all of these technological terms, to indicate school suspension, calls for relief, calls for rescue, and other alerts regarding the typhoon. Other institutions noticed these early efforts and have been working with us since. The ASEAN Coordination Center for Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Management, or the AHA Center, which is based in Jakarta, has been using the alerts and articles of the official Gazette to update their regional network. Google has also provided support to us, coordinating their efforts with that of government to ensure better dissemination of information. Perhaps most important of all, technology allowed the Filipino people to be proactive and to do their share during this crisis. Because of early warnings, local government units were able to act quickly and implement preemptive evacuation, which many of our countrymen cooperated with. Social media became the vehicle through which the Filipino people actively disseminated information as well as responded to calls for relief and rescue. Indeed, everyone took part. The Philippine experience with the use of technology in mitigating the effects of natural disasters has made it clear. Today, it is all the more important for us to use technology in responsible ways, to empower people, facilitate the spread of knowledge, and advance causes that redound to the benefit of all. We have already made great strides, and the good news is there is much more we can do, especially when we come together under an atmosphere of mutual respect, openness to dialogue, and cooperation. You have all made this possible. The Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization Regional Center for Educational Innovation and Technology, which is a little bit shorter when called SEAMEO INNOTECH, has been in the Philippines for the past 36 years. In that time, your initiatives have benefited thousands of our schools and even more students. From your assistance in improving the basic education of Filipino Muslims, to computerized management and operation support tools to facilitate the administration of schools and student monitoring, you have truly done your part in advancing the state of education in the Philippines, and for this, you have our sincerest gratitude. Your tradition of helping Filipinos, indeed of helping the Southeast Asian peoples, continues today with a conference specifically geared towards sustainable development, utilizing education, innovation, and technology for a green Southeast Asia. Like you, I have always believed that education is an important component in stimulating inclusive growth. This past April, we officially launched our K-12 basic education program just in time for the school year, which seeks to raise the quality of education available to all Filipino children to international standards, so that they can compete with foreign graduates. This is in line with measures to fill practical requirements. By the end of the year, we will have achieved a 1-to-1 textbook to student ratio as our Department of Education is making progress in filling our lack of classrooms and school seat shortage. Even as we are strengthening, well, of course, Brother Armin, we still have 20 days to go for you to fulfill your first part of the promises. Even as we are strengthening the foundations of our education system, so too are we making use of science and technology to enhance the learning experience. From making use of available tools like, again another blog, like Google Apps to help our teachers perform their duties well, to exposing the youth to alternative spaces and sources for learning. For example, mobile science laboratories and downloadable math and science modules. At the same time, we remain aware that learning is a lifelong process that does not take place only inside classrooms. Education also takes place in our everyday experiences. In some ways, it may be that this practical experience-based form of learning makes a greater impression on all of us. We can teach students all we want about the importance of preserving the environment. But if they do not see these practices lived out in the wider community, how will these lessons ever take root? We can speak of the consequences of climate change, but it is the difficult lessons of the everyday, the storms and devastation wrought in the Philippines, amongst others, that make these consequences a reality. Given recent events, it is all the more apparent how technology can be used to make great gains in any sector. It helped our government and the Filipino people to take action, coordinate efforts, and spread information both in times of crisis and in times of peace. And technology has also provided us with a wealth of learning material. The images, videos, and eyewitness or official accounts that proliferated in the wake of Typhoon Pablo will remain on record as a sober reminder of the need for safer, greener communities and the importance of working together to preserve the environment and to mitigate the effects of disasters. There is also a positive record of public and private efforts to study. So we know what practices should be continued, what mechanisms can be improved, and what initiatives government can make to reduce loss of life. We would not be here today if we did not recognize that technology is instrumental in changing behavior, whether in enhancing the learning experience, in empowering the common citizen, or in allowing institutions to become much more efficient and much more effective. And I'm glad, really glad to see so many people from around the region dedicated to this cause. I've repeatedly called on all sectors to do what they can to elevate the level of public discourse. Your conference will do the same, not only on a national level in the Philippines, but also on a regional level. In this way, we can engage in dialogue, definitely share our best practices towards the fulfillment of our collective aspirations. To harness science, technology, and education for sustainable and inclusive progress. Thank you for your time.